Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. I bought myself a new camera so I can be more sharp. Because if you want to be sharp, you need the right tools. That's why today we're talking about Surfpool, one of my favorite Solana dev tools. But before we do, can we get rid of this guy? Me? Yeah. Oh, okay. Bye. Thank you. So they just released version 1.0, which I assume comes with new features and stuff. So today I want to have a look at that. And my primary goal is that everybody knows that Surfpool exists, what it really is and how you can use it. Secondary goal is that we have a look at those new features, especially the one with account streaming. That sounds really fun and helpful. And then my ternary goal is to give the people who develop Surfpool a little bit of feedback, what I enjoy and what I think could be improved. Because the last times I made videos, they were super quick to working with my feedback and including that in their product. So that's another sub goal that I have. But primarily, this is for you learning about Surfpool. Surfpool. So let's go. A bit bigger. There we go. Surfpool 1.0. So in case you don't know what Surfpool is, you can think of it like the local test validator, but with way more features and a nice UI and easier to use. Because the pain, if you're testing locally, is you might need some accounts that are on mainnet and you can clone them, but then stuff on mainnet changes again and you would need to clone again, so that's all quite a bit annoying. What if there was a solution where you don't need to bother with those things and it just works? I think that's what Surfpool tries to do. Surfpool fetches accounts just in time from mainnets as your transaction needs them. No manual cloning, no stale state. Your transactions get what they need when they need it. And we already saw that working. We already saw how Surfpool clones account from mainnet, because I did make videos about Surfpool before. But I want to see what's different in version 1.0. Full documentation. Ooh, look at that. That's a lot of things you can do. But I haven't used Surfpool in a while, so let's just get started with Surfpool. You can also view on GitHub. Installation. Surfpool installer. I'm always a bit wary of, downloading scripts and running them, but that's the easy way to go. So let's look at that. What it would do. Surfpool is only supported on macOS and Linux. No goddamn Windows. It downloads from here and we need to trust that that is safe, which working in crypto, I'm always skeptical. But I trust the authors. I'm just also afraid that something might have gotten hacked at some point. But okay, no, what do I have to lose? Let's just run it. There we go. Install successful. TX. Oh, that's what that is. Haha, TX. Run Surfpool start to get started. That sounds about easy enough. I have Surfpool now. Wow. Surfpool start. Nice. So that seems somewhat familiar. Even the studio already seems familiar because that was the second video that I made. Also, note how the logs are now going in the right way around. Old stuff on top. That's how I like it. Connecting Surfnet to data source. That means that it's streaming from mainnet and my local validator is running here. So it's emulating a Solana validator and the studio lives here. And then it pretends to be mainnet. We're currently 36% in this epoch. Nothing too unsurprising here. Let's look at the studio. What happens if we go there? Then we see the same thing just in nicer graphics, I guess. We can inspect transactions. Okay, but to actually have transactions, we'll need to work with something. What are we even doing today? Like, why are we here? Because it's just a tool. It helps you develop. There's something that we need to develop. You said the local test validator is here. Is that the regular local port? If I say Solana config set to local. Yep. So Solana balance. I've got 0 sol. What's my address? This. So in Studio, I can just be like, hey, this address, give me 101 sol. Go. Woo! Nice. And now balance, I've got 101 sol. Easy. See, you can play God with Surfpool. Cool. So we should be able to do stuff like SBL token, create a token. There. Created this token. That's the transaction signature. We should have seen stuff happening here now. This is still buggy. Oh man, whatever. Let's not look there. Let's just look here. We have this transaction here now in Studio, and we can see what happened. We can see the CU breakdown. So the second instruction took the most. Let me guess, there's a compute budget and probably this is the compute budget and this is the system program creating an account, and this is the token program. Instruction 1 to the system program. Yes. Instruction 2 and instruction 3 compute budget program. Honestly, I gave that feedback before and I will give that feedback again. Please make it obvious which program is being called, because nowhere except for in the log does it say what program is actually being called. This would be like the first thing that I want to know from an instruction if I look at an instruction is what program is being called. That should be more obvious in the Studio here. But I do like the colors, and I do like that I can look at the logs and even details. So that's the token that was created. And this instruction, I would assume, wrote all of that because before the account was just created, so it must have been all zeros. I don't know exactly what you're trying to tell me here with that color scheme. Hold on. Also, that I reported before. This is still the hex representation of literally this stuff. Please let me look at the actual account data here. That would be so nice. Like, I would love to get something like this when I look at the hex part, the 82 bytes of the account. So yeah, that's still the same weird stuff in the Studio. Okay, fine. But anyway, here it tells me there are byte level diffs. It's a proper diff algorithm. Instead of seeing token CAC, you see token program. Do I have the right version? Because I don't see that I see that. This is in version 1.0. Let's just make sure that my Surfpool... No, this is not... So I have an old version. This is in 0.10. No wonder it's all the same that I complained about last time. Okay, then let's kill this. Installing this. Oh, here I still had an old version of Surfpool. No wonder it's the same as I checked last time if I literally have the version from last time. It's not where, it's which. So, my current version is here. So what if I say cargo uninstall Surfpool? There we go. Okay, so it's uninstalled now. I still need to link to the other version now. Or maybe I just rerun the installer. Okay, nope, still not. Edit to path in here. Okay, so I just need to have a new bash. Yay! There we go. Okay, cool. Well then, what version are we on now? 1.0. Let's try this whole thing again. Surfpool start. Now that looks different. Thank you. That's now different. And we have logs, we have 2 transactions. This visualization is a little different. It's more compact up here. Studio is still at the same address, but probably looks different as well. Yep, looks different as well. So now let's do that thing again with this version. Give me a new bash and say Solana balance. I have 0. Can you please give me 101 sol to this address? Thank you very much. Now we have 101, and now we can SPL token create a token. There we go, starts with 9 again. And that's the transaction. And here, look, no more weird artifacts. It processed a transaction. What else did it do here? Account not found, creating a new account from default values. So my account, maybe that's when I did the faucet thingy. It created this account. And then here it processed this transaction. And it gives me that transaction signature. That's all I want to see. That's nice. I like it. They did include all of my feedback. I love it. Okay, so let's look at the transaction here then. Look what's now very obvious. What program is being called? Thank you. Thank you for including that. That makes it so much more obvious what is happening here. Because this is the token program. And here, if we check that account that we created, the mint, this is the nice thing. In hex... this is still giving me the hex of the text though. Nope, that's not what I want. So that's still weird. Okay, fine. Fair enough. Let's look at accounts here. No indexed accounts yet, sure. What if I do this? There we go. It gives me that info. Could I also see that here? Probably that's just the index of the accounts that it got from mainnet. So far it didn't get anything from mainnet. Oh, simulations. Interesting. Export state. I could even export the state, and that's what it would look like. It would, for all the accounts, store the things, how many Lamberts are on there, who's the owner, and what's the data. Interesting. So here we can scroll through what accounts it actually knows about. This is the actual state that Surfpool has. That's so cool that we can export that as easy as that. Okay, nice. Can publish, can time travel. We can pause the clock and then potentially work in the same block or epoch or the same slot. Not sure. Could try. What happens if I pause the clock? Blinking. But what does that mean? If I create a token, oh, it doesn't produce blocks. That's fun. And then I SBL token create another token, and then I resume the clock, then those go through. Look, that's fun. Now, both of those probably were created in the same block, right? Because those, yep, both of those transactions landed in the same block. That's fun. Because that's very difficult to test on mainnet or even on Devnet to get several transactions in the same block. But with Surfpool, that's easy. Hehe. Funny. Good. What else do I want to have a look at? So far, we've just worked locally. Let's see if I can get something. But before we actually do that, I have another question. First of all, what happens if I kill Surfpool and start Surfpool again? Then we're basically clean again, right? So if I refresh that, then it's just the 2 initial transactions and my tokens are gone. This account is gone. I could probably start this with a snapshot. There we go. So I do have the accounts then. So if I store that thing from before this thing as my snapshot, then I should be able to say Surfpool start snapshot with this snapshot. Shot, not shop. There we go. Preloaded 25 accounts from snapshot. And then I should have, yep, then I have this account. So far so good, but what else? There's more features all. This is cool. If you want to test with all features enabled, we made a video on features. This is how you do it. The Solana test validator does that per default, but Surfpool will work with mainnet defaults because that makes sense. If it wants to emulate mainnet as close as possible, it wants to have the same features as mainnet. But if you want to test with all features, that's how you do it. Then you can also disable feature as with a regular Solana test validator, or you can enable specific features. That's cool. But what I wanted to find is if I can tell it where to load accounts from. Because I want to have their network. Choose a predefined network. Cannot be used with RPC URL. So probably RPC URL is the one that I could set a data source. There we go. Yeah. So the default is mainnet, but I could also tell it to go to Devnet. And I think I'm going to do that because it's cheaper for me to work on Devnet. So we're going to say we run this with the network Devnet. Then, there we go. Connecting Surfnet to data source Devnet. So now it is trying to behave like Devnet. And it's going to load my accounts from there. Cool. Because what we can now do is we can go to Devnet. Right, SBL token doesn't allow me to set a cluster, right? Yeah, this is so annoying. Okay, fine. So if I go to Devnet with my CLI and then I SBL token create token, we're creating the 6CZ token. Obviously, this does not yet exist on local unless I query it. So on local, wow. Why? Because just now Surfpool just queried that account and it's now updated. That number is weird, but it's okay. This is a different slot that it shows here. What's going on here? I don't know. This is not in sync anymore. Epic is, but the slot number, this is being... Hey, you want some more feedback? What's going on here? It's probably just a tiny bug, but like something is not consistent. Anyway, moving on. It did query that account from Devnet now, because I wanted to have the info for it here. I could also query it on Devnet itself. That should be the same. It just takes a bit longer. If I do it on local, it comes back right away. Nice. And it has the same data. So what if now on Devnet I say SBL token mint one of that or whatever? Oh, I can't mint because I don't have it token account. Well, then create account. Now it creates the token account and now it should be able to mint in there. There we go. So cool. Now let's check the same account again on Devnet and we will see that something has changed. The supply that was 0 is now this. We do have 1 token in supply. Yes, it has 9 decimals, that's why. Yeah. But what if I check local? I would assume that it still has the old version because once it queried it into local state, it keeps it there like this. Yeah, here, local, so Surfpool still has the token without supply. If I would query the token account, it gives me the info for the token account, and then I query that again, then it has the supply. Why? Because for all the tokens, it will requery the mint. So when I was querying the token account, it was also querying the mint before. We read about that. Here's something. Token accounts reference the mint. If you fetch the token account but not the mint, your transaction fails with a cryptic error. Surfpool unpacks every token account, it extracts the mint address and fetches it alongside. So the mint account is fetched automatically. And also updated automatically then as well. But then now that you have that account, what if I now once again mint a few more tokens such that on Devnet it would look like this? So now we're even running in here. There, that's the entire supply. So we have a bunch of tokens in the supply, but locally we don't yet. And even if we locally query that account, since we already had that in Surfpool already anyway, it doesn't update that either. So how can I get Surfpool to always check that account? And with this token mint, this is just a random example and not a real use case. I mean, on the other hand, it can be a real use case. If the supply of a token changes all the time and that's relevant for your program, then it is a real use case. But yeah, usually this would be, think of that account as like an Oracle account or something that changes quickly. And it's not enough to query it once and keep it in local state, but you want to re-query it. Querying it once and keeping it in local state also has its advantages, because that way you can have consistent local state. If your program then works with that account and changes it, or other programs change something on that account, maybe that's relevant for the workflow for your program to continue working. So you just want to pick some accounts that it should always query from mainnet or Devnet in our case. Most of the accounts are fine to be queried once and then kept. But for the sake of trying it out, let's say this is one of those accounts that I want to stream, is what they call it. Stream it to always get the new information. How would I do that? I think I saw it in the cheat codes. We can set any token balance in any wallet. We can time travel and we can stream accounts. Mark an account to always fetch fresh from mainnet. By default, Surfpool caches fetched accounts, but sometimes we need fresh data. Stream account adds the account to a no cache list. Every time a transaction touches it, Surfpool fetches the latest state. Okay, and how do we do that? Apparently, we need to send something to localhost. We're basically doing an RPC request here manually with this method directly targeting Surfnet. Okay, I mean, I can do that. Copy that. And then we do that, but not for this, but for this account. Boom. Result, slot value, null ID 1. Did it do that now? I don't know. Let's look at Surfpool. Here we go. Here it says changes will be streamed. So for this account, changes will be streamed. So is it enough that I have this on the no cache list that if I now query that account, yes, it took a while, but it did update that account now because it wanted to do something with it. Even if I just, query that account, I'm not even sending a transaction, but I'm requesting the state through the RPC, so through Surfpool, I request the account state of this account, and Surfpool is then like, oh, this is an account that I have, but it's on my no cache list, so I better query it from Devnet. That's why it took a while to do that, but then it gives me the same state as Devnet has. So if I would mint even more on Devnet and then I query that account, then it also has this updated account right here because it's on my no cache list. Nice. And that's how you stream accounts. I mean, easy as that, right? But what if now I go to local? Hey, maintainers of the SBL token CLI, could you please add that cluster feature to the CLI directly such that I don't always have to change the config? That's so annoying. So now I mint on local. Do you think that will work? No. We get an RPC error. Let's check that in Surfpool because transaction simulation failed. Error processing instruction 0. That's also not very helpful. Hey Studio, can you show me the failed transaction? You also don't tell me anything here? Okay. Well, I guess I gotta read those logs then. I should have the authority. What else could go wrong? Mint to checked. Exceeds CU meter at BPF instruction. I ran out of compute units? You serious? The hell? Okay. Can I just have a higher limit? Not like I care. Nope. Okay. So there seems to be a discrepancy between, I don't know, actually I don't know where. They might have different limits. Honestly, I have no idea why it doesn't work without. Now it did. Maybe that was just weird. Anyway, it seems to work now. I can keep minting tokens. But what happens if I query the account? Then we're back to this because even though we keep minting and this account will have more and more tokens. Let's do SBL token account. So we already have 400 of this token. And if I mint more, we have 500 tokens. But the total supply is still just 200. So obviously we'll get an inconsistency because the supply doesn't match with the actual tokens anymore because one we stream from Devnet and one we hold locally. We probably would want to stream either all of those accounts or be okay with that inconsistency or not stream any of the accounts and keep them locally. If you want to work on that state, then obviously you shouldn't stream them. It depends on your use case. But yeah, I would say that's a cool feature. So could I turn it off again? Loading accounts. Still no index accounts, but a streamed account. This one. But hold on. I cannot unstream. Okay. We saw the entire docs somewhere of the cheat codes. There is the stream account and then there is the reset account. I don't think there is an unstream, but if I would reset the account, so I do the same as if I want to stream the account, but I do reset account, then Surfpool says this will be reset. And if I then query that account, then it gets it one more time from Devnet. But from now on, if I now mint locally, then it should also be reflected in that account. Wait, no, it's not. Why not? Is this still being streamed? It is still being streamed. So the reset didn't really work with it being streamed. That's maybe also an edge case that you want to stop streaming one of the accounts. But hey, maybe you realized you accidentally did stream an account that you shouldn't stream. How can you get it off that list? Is now my question. Reset account resets an account on a local network to its original state from the remote data source. Yeah, but can I unstream it? If true, also streams account owned by the specific account. So that's for programs. So you could stream everything from a program, I guess. Value null, so that's what we expect actually. Okay, but I don't know how to unstream. I have an idea though, it's a bit hacky, but I have an idea. My idea would be to export a snapshot. Ooh, here I can say which accounts I want included and whatnot. And the value be this. Let's see if I can manage. What if I don't have parameters? And I say export snapshot. There we go. It's a lot. That is a lot. Yeah, that's too much. I'm gonna do it here again in Studio because that was easier. Here we just export state and then we can open it. Let's say snapshot 2. This snapshot should contain, yeah, that's the token account, and it should also contain my mint. Nope, it does not contain my mint. Interesting that snapshot does not contain the mint because the mint is an account that it streams. But that's okay. So then I just kill Surfpool and restart it with Devnet and snapshot 2. This way, if I now query that, it queries it once from Devnet, But now, if I mint, yeah, then it persists that, because now that account is not being streamed anymore. So when you reset Surfpool, the no cache list is reset as well. That's cool. So that's how you would do it. It would actually be nice to have a cheat code to, remove it from the no cache list, but it's not super relevant. Anyway, so that's the streaming of accounts. But I was also promised byte by byte diffs. Can I see that for one of those mints? Like if I mint 100 tokens, this transaction, if we look at that, we see just one instruction to the token program, mint to checked, and there are 2 accounts. Oh look, that looks nice. The supply is being changed on the mint and on the token account, the UI amount. But this hex thing, oh, yeah, wait, that looks better. Hold on, show me that one again. Yeah, look, that's the actual bytes. Here it does work. They did actually diff the token amount here. For the mint, the supply changed from this to this. From the token account, the balance changed from this to this. Nice. To make it more obvious, let's do just 1. So let's mint 0.123456781. 1. So that's just 1. And if we check this transaction, then we see the diff here. This 0 became a 1 because where are we here? That's the token account. This entire thing is the supply. That's not so easy to see. So it's 1234, 1234. That's the token balance that is now increased by 1, and the supply is also increased by 1. Nice. Yeah, so that does work. That's nice. That's cool. But I remember at the first instruction, what did I do there? When I created a token, it didn't really work so well. So this signature, starting with R, that's unusual. Here, where that token is created, it gives me that data, and in hex, oh no, that's not the actual hex data. Here, that's still weird. Here, I would still prefer to have the actual account bytes and not this string. There seems to still be a bug. I consider this a bug, actually. It's not what I expect. This is more what I expect. Token keg, I can't even see in hex. Great. And my account, if I look at that in hex, has no data. Okay, yeah, cool. The new account in hex, yeah, this is not what I want to see here. This is just a prettified thing, type mint, that it makes to hex here. But that's okay. Later, when we actually use it, like SBR token create account for this mint, this transaction, if we look at that and look at that account in hex, then it has the data that we would expect. That's what a mint looks like. Yeah, that's actual hex. Maybe because it doesn't have a pretty version that it gives me that in hex. I'm not sure, but yeah. And that's the new account. That's the token account. And this here again. So for new account, maybe for new accounts, this is so weird because here in hex, this is again not what I would expect. I would like the actual bytes like here, not this. But anyway, that's just some minor feedback for the devs of Surfpool. Overall, I would say this is quite nice. I mean, it's big. It's because I make it so big. You can stream from Devnet, we just saw. But usually you would probably want to do that with mainnet, because that's where the more interesting data lives and all the token pools and whatever. Is there anything else that I wanted to look at? Yeah, that snapshot feature is also super nice. I can just export the state as JSON and then share it with someone or come back to it later. Captures your entire network state, but not the accounts that it streams. Unless I pass in scope network, then it captures everything. Every transaction has a fixtures button, and you get a snapshot of all accounts before the transaction executes. Ooh, like this we can replay transactions with identical inputs. That's cool. Let's see that. So fixtures. Here just download the snapshot from before this transaction was executed. That's fun. It's not much there except for my mint that was created with this data. But yeah, that's that. Cool. I think that's good. Just for fun. As one last thing, just to play with it, let's do the set token account, set the token balance of any wallet. That's the universal faucet. What parameters does that take? We can set owner, we can set mint. Oh no, we need to specify the owner and the mint. That way it probably derives the token account then. We can specify the token program if it's not the default. And then update, that's the account data to update. Here we can update the amount or the close authority or the delegate or the state. Okay, so in this example, we're updating for this owner being the wallet address, this token, this is USDC, and then the amount, that's the update. Yeah, let's try that. What did we have here? So set token account for Solana address. This is the owner and the mint will be this guy and the amount, let's say 6 because that's a number that I can see. Result, value null. Okay, great. Seems to have worked. So this account, if we check it, Solana account should now have 6 tokens. There you go. Also that will then not be consistent anymore with the actual token because the actual token still thinks that it has 0 supply, but we just hard-coded the 6 in there. We just forced it in there. We forced it into the state of our local state of Surfpool, just to showcase how the set token account stuff works. But you know, that's fairly self-explanatory if you manage to find that page with the cheat codes and then can read all of that stuff. Parameters just come in order. So all of that. If I wanted to set it to frozen, then I could be like, hey, do this, and instead of amount, I can say amount is now 9, but therefore it's also state frozen. There you go. And then if I query that account again, then I have 9 now, but also the state is now 2 and not 1, which means it's now frozen and not initialized. Yeah, cool. I think I'm good with that. Nice revisiting Surfpool. I hope you got an idea to why this is useful. And I hope you understand how you can work with Surfpool. It does make local development easier, I think. Especially if you're working with accounts from mainnet or even Devnet, as we saw today. Just makes it really handy. I also really like the snapshot. I like that we can pause this. That just pause the time and then we're not producing blocks anymore. It's fun. Yeah. And we did find a few little bugs and stuff. That's why this is version 1.0. There will be further versions. They are still improving that thing. So looking forward to what's to come with Surfpool. And I hope it helps you in your Solana development journey. I hope you like seeing my face so crispy sharp. I'm almost a bit uncomfortable how detailed you see me now, and I need to figure out the camera setup, but that's for a next video. Make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any future videos. Here are some older ones. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and then I will see you in the next one. Till then, bye bye.